Thank you for staying with us. A CNN News 18 exclusive news break has blown the lid on the money trail between Khalistani extremists and Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party and his ally Jagmeet Singh's NDP. In an exclusive, we've learned that Kanishka bombing accused Ripudaman Singh, who was killed in 2022, and Inderjeet Singh, who is now a free man in Canada, donated to Jagmeet Singh's NDP. The funding has been taking place since 2012. However, Hardeep Sahota, a Canadian national that's linked with the Khalistani Liberation Force activists, has been funding to Trudeau's Liberal Party as well. Jagmeet Singh and the New Democratic Party began supporting Justin Trudeau's Liberal government in 2017. They kept it afloat with a minority status, having a direct impact on strained ties with India. However, Jagmeet Singh withdrew support in September 2024. In fact, he is now gunning for Justin Trudeau, wants him to resign. This after ratings for Justin Trudeau are dipping in opinion polls ahead of general elections there next year. Now, the K-link to Trudeau and his former ally, Jagmeet Singh, stands completely exposed. CNN News 18 has accessed these funding records from Elections Canada that show donations to NDP and the Liberal Party. The funding continued as Jagmeet Singh and Trudeau formed alliance in 2019 is possibly the reason behind Justin Trudeau's shield for K-terrorists and K-extremists and turning a blind eye. Not only turning a blind eye and giving a platform, in fact, to these Khalistani elements, but also making outrageous and ludicrous allegations against India without an ounce of proof. So as we now prove that this funding and these donations by Khalistani elements to Canadian parties that are in government, that now stands exposed, will this only mount Justin Trudeau's woes in election year? We'll find that out.
Today, I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to resign. He has to go. Right now, Canadians are struggling with the cost of living.
Let's open this up. Tara Kartha, former director NSCS, and Deepak Vohra, former diplomat, join us on this broadcast. Tara Kartha, let me begin by asking you, it's not a secret. We know the kind of support that comes in from Khalistani elements to parties like the NDP. Now we have proof of donations that were made to the Liberal Party as well. So is this really sort of a quid pro quo that we see in Canada and that has perhaps prompted Justin Trudeau and the Canadian side to make the kind of outrageous comments and allegations they've made against India in the recent past?
I think this is quite a scoop you all have got in terms of, this is solid news. This is something that is difficult to deny. Obviously, we all knew that he was playing the Khalistan card. It was not out of charity. Trudeau is not exactly known for charitable purposes. So he's doing it for some reason. What's the reason? Voting, yes, certainly elected votes. But if you're saying that there is actual funding by these hardcore terrorists whom you just named for his Liberal Party, then there you go. That is amazing scoop that you'll have got. But his own minister has now accused him of costly political gimmickry. That's what he does. He does that all the time. So that's why she resigned. The Canadian the finance minister finally resigned because she said this is what he does. So he seems to be somebody who's very adept at using every cost to sort of further his own career, not that of Canada. Jagmeet Singh says that they're fighting among themselves rather than fighting for Canada. So everybody's, I think, finally seen through what this man does. And if there are, however, funds going directly to his party, I think we need to take that up because that is an extremely serious issue.
It is an extremely serious issue, but does Canada believe it's an extremely serious issue, at least as far as ties with India are concerned? Deepak Vohra, Canada has, in the recent past especially, behaved in a way, throwing caution to the wind, not really caring of how deep India-Canada ties go and the impact that the kind of statements that Justin Trudeau has made himself would have on those ties. But this is proof here that, like Tara Kartha was saying, that's difficult to deny. There is funding coming in, there are donations that are made by not only pro-Khalistani elements who may have affiliations with banned organizations, but a man who was convicted, the only man who was convicted for the Kanishka bombing, who now is a free man in Canada.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Always a pleasure to be on your channel. And I've been listening to what you've said and what Ms. Kartha said. Both of you are brilliant. I don't need to be here. You know it all. You know, when the thing first happened about the Indian community and all the nonsense that Trudeau was talking, that India was involved in killing some plumber or his darling plumber, what did we say? We said you are playing with fire for vote bank politics. We've been consistent right through. And this clown, I call him the clown of Canada. Forgive me for my blunt language. I know the gentleman. This is a gimmick to stay in power. He knows he's never coming back. He has insulted and humiliated Donald Trump at the G7 NATO summit in London. He mocked him. Trump doesn't forget. Trump called him two-faced. And then when Trump said that Canada is pushing all these illegals into America, if they don't stop, I'll put 25% tariffs. And this guy, Trudeau, who imagines he's God's gift to the world, he flew. And I'm told, ma'am, I have friends in the incoming Trump administration. They said he rolled on the ground in front, he groveled in front of Trump and said, this will crush Canada's economy. When Trump said, then you can become the 51st state of the United States. And he told the Mexicans the same thing. If you don't stop this Chinese manufactured fentanyl from coming in, you know what I'll do to you. Ma'am, 24 hours later, Mexico made its biggest ever haul of fentanyl. So when you hit these guys, when you threaten action, they behave. Now, what's happening to Trudeau? Whatever happens, he wants to stay in power because he knows he's never coming back. He's probably the most intensely disliked person, not just in Bharat and in his own country, but among the so-called, oh, we have got allies and partners in the GS and NATO. Nobody trusts him. Nobody has come out in support of this character. But he's so obstinate. But he also knows that only Jagmeet Singh stands. They call it a pension when you finish your normal term in parliament. He wants to keep that. So he's not going to throw this man out. Ma'am, this is a clash between one man whose ego and his country. And this man's ego is bigger than his country. No, 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 no. Mr. Dustbin Trudeau, Canada, the Western Hemisphere, and the world will be better without you. Go away. Do the world a favor.
And
man.
that's really what his allies and even Jagmeet Singh, his former ally, now is saying, that we don't want him. There's absolute no confidence in Justin Trudeau. Kartha, then what explains the kind of behavior that we're now seeing from Justin Trudeau? If political compulsions and keeping his government afloat with Jagmeet Singh right next to him was the reason, now that is out. Why do we still see Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party wanting to pander to the pro-Khalistanis and to these people who've been funding them left, right and centre, but who've also been abusing India, have been spewing anti-India hate openly?
See, there's two things here. Recently, they lost, I think it was 4 by-elections. His party lost, right? But that doesn't really translate into a huge win for the others, for the opposition. They're not that great either. So both sides are not that confident of elections. Trudeau is simply going to hang on. I mean, though they are calling for him to resign, I doubt like the ambassador said, he's not the kind who will walk away in a sort of dignified manner. That's not him at all. But I just want to make one thing clear. See, the funds, if it has come from a convicted terrorist, that is an issue under international law. It is not something that you can brush aside. One. And number two is, we have established records of funding. I mean, I don't want to go on raising this ISI bogey, but the Pakistan bogey, there are funds coming from Pakistan for these people. So you've got two sort of, benchmarks on which to see how you can handle this. And I think we should raise the level in this if you've got this amazing amount of proof that you managed to produce. We should use this to get this guy on board. I mean, how can this man, I don't know any other country who does this, right? Who takes money from terrorists, then supports them. And Kanishka bombing is the worst airline disaster, terrorist attack in the world up to now. That's not something you can hide away. But why are they still supporting them? Well, obviously, he's getting money, he's getting votes, he's getting he's getting a bunch of things from these people at a time when his popularity with Canadians is low. Canadian economy is in terrible bad shape.
So this is just Justin Trudeau then clutching at straws. Basically,
Yes,
let's clutch at whatever works for me, because it is really scraping the bottom of the barrel for him at this moment, going into elections next year. But Deepak Vohra, I want to just ask you this before we wrap this up. Can India, diplomatically speaking, can New Delhi pick this up with the Canadian side? And if yes, how can we turn the screws on them over the kind of funding that it has received from Khalistani terrorists, from Khalistani elements that India has on multiple occasions asked for extradition of?
Ma'am, I'm not speaking on behalf of the government, but
Sure.
personally, what would I do? There's a racket, you've heard about it, called the Financial Action Task Force. And that talks about money laundering. They hit our neighbors with that. They've hit others with that. They've never hit us because our systems are very transparent. We should bring it to their notice that this guy, this Justin Trudeau, legal son of, not biological, legal son of Pierre Trudeau, is involved in money laundering and terrorist finance. And that, I believe, would be such a tight slap on the fellow's face and on Canada. Most Canadians want to see his back and say, go away, go and settle down wherever you want to, but leave Canada for God's sake. If we take it to FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, he'll be in deep trouble, man. I don't know whether we'll do it, but I would rather that we did.
Sure, but there are ways to do it. We certainly hope that the pressure is kept on the Canadian side, Justin Trudeau or no. We don't know what happens in elections next year, but at least until the next 8 months, we are going to be seeing Justin Trudeau at the helm, of course, unless he's forced out. But we do hope that the ties between India and Canada are not sacrificed at the altar of one party or one coalition pandering to terrorists and Khalistani sympathizers. I'll leave it at that. I thank you both for joining us here on this edition and sharing your perspective.